Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and we're going to work on a Quantum Magnum reel today. I'll show you a little bit about how it's made, how it comes together, and how it works. But the news here, or the reason why this one came in the shop, it was sent in by Frank. He said he took it apart and he cleaned it, so we won't go through all of that. But when he put it back together, well, there's no drag on it. And in my previews, I noticed that, well, there's an awful lot of shim washers here that don't belong here. They belong on the other side of the piece. So I thought maybe what we would do is not only would we see if we got a quick fix there, but we would also show you how this reel is made. This reel is a Japanese reel, and I don't know the date. I'm going to guess from the industrial design of this reel that it's somewhere in the 1980s because of the metal case and the kind of overall design of it. I can remember going back and having a Daiwa Procaster that looked very much like this in the late 70s, early 80s, so it very much well might be that. All right, if you're going to work on your reel, one of the first things I tell you to do is take a picture, because pictures are good reference points for what's going on in the reel, and a lot of the times you will get stumped. You'll trust your memory, and your memory may not just be something that you want to trust at that point. So take the pictures, and that will help you to get the orientation of the reel proper. It will also tell you to go get a schematic if you need to. For example, this was just underneath the nut for the handle. Well, that doesn't belong. That belongs on the other side of it. And again, these washers here don't belong there. So a schematic would tell you that. So go out onto the internet, do a search, find the schematics for those reels, and that will help you tremendously. These are two tension washers. They're belled washers. This is a flat washer, and I found those on top of the star adjuster. Well, that star adjuster's not pressing down on anything because these washers belong under that. So what we will do is we will take this off. We'll show you the inside of it. We'll see if we can't correct that by putting those in the proper position. And you'll get an inside look at this too while we're doing it. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to remove the exterior pieces. While I'm doing that, I would encourage you to sign up for my service. Go ahead and push the subscription button, and that subscription button will let you know when I'm posting the videos. And if you do a notification, you'll see exactly when they're posted, and that will help you to see those reels that I'm working on that you might find favor with. So please go ahead and do that, and hit the notification button. It'll tell you exactly when they're being posted, and you can choose whether that's something you want to watch or not. Okay, the two screws here release the side plate. You can pull the side plate out, and you can pull the spool out, and you'll see it's a mag adjuster on this side of the reel. Those two bolts are through bolts. I'm going to take those out, and I'm going to put those in my tray. I'm also going to put the side plate in my tray as well. Again, I'm not going to do the service on this because it says it was serviced and cleaned, but I do want to show you the reel itself just in case you're working on that. All right, looks like this side plate has been repainted. That's probably why I can't see the name of the model number. You can see that there's appears to be a difference there. That's okay. You can keep your reels clean by repainting them if you choose to do that. I kind of let the reels talk for themselves. I like to preserve the patinas, but I'm going to guess this one has been repainted. Okay, we're going to take the two screws off. That should release the side plate. Then we're going to remove the side plate by pulling up. And well, I don't know. This hasn't been cleaned, so we're going to go ahead and do the cleaning on this one. When I read the note, I thought he said had it apart and cleaned it, but well, it needs more than that. So this is a traditional bait caster kind of a setup. And the bait caster has a main drive. It has the older style anti-reverse dog, I'm going to pull those two screws off of the collar there. And when you go to remove your main gear, you need to walk this anti-reverse dog up with you. That's this piece right here. It's a forked dog. If you don't walk it up with you, what's going to happen is you're going to pull it apart. Well, and then it's just simply not going to be any good to anyone. So let's see if we can't do that here. There you go. I think I've got it off the piece now. And this is a good place to take pictures because you want to note the orientation. Here's your yoke. Notice that the one side of the pinion gear is flat-sided with the teeth. We'll remove the rest of this piece. And we have a click ratchet, and we have that anti-reverse dog, and we have a washer between the two. All right, we're just going to wipe that up, all the old grease. Remove the washer. It's good to note what side the washer came out on. There's two sides to this click ratchet. One of them is kind of a polished side with a rounded edge. The other side is a flat side, so make a note of that. I'm going to flood this stuff right now with some penetrating oil to start a cleanup. I'm going to remove the yoke and the pinion gear. And you'll notice I put a protective glove on my hands because initially I thought we were just going to go into a clean and lightly lubed reel. That wasn't the case. All right, tough keeping track of the pieces and parts. I'm going to take the two of those. I'm going to put those into my parts tray. My parts tray is the bottom of a fast food container. We're going to continue with the cleanup here. I'm wiping off the old grease on the bottom. And I like when I'm doing my cleanup, I like to go the least aggressive possible. So if I can get that grease and debris off with a paper towel, I'm going to do that first. If I need an assist, I'm going to use a light steel wool. It's a 4O, which is a very fine steel wool. And that'll just help you to buff it without abrading it. This was that anti-reverse dog I was referring to. It's got a fork on it. That fork fits in the slots of that click ratchet. One on each side of the fork. Sitting like that. It's friction driven when you're going into one direction. We'll show you a little bit later. But when you're going into one direction, it will release. And when you're coming backwards, it will pull it in. So keep those two together. Just checking the drag washer appears to be fine. Go ahead and put that cap back in. I'm checking the teeth now of the main gear to make sure that they're okay. And because this is kind of sloppy here, I'm going to remove the gear shaft. Sometimes there is a burring under there. Sometimes it's just a cap. Regardless, when I remove this shaft, it will enable me to do a better cleaning underneath here. And you can pull up on that, and we just have a bushing under there right now. One more time, we're going to spray this. I'm going to go to my cotton swabs just to get the old greases off. And that will make it a whole lot easier for this reel to travel and perform better when the old grease gets out of the way. So much of reel repair and reel servicing is nothing more than just cleaning, checking parts, and re-lubricating when you're done. Of course, if there's any broken parts, you need to go replace those. But so much of it is, on the annual services should just be about the cleaning, re-lube, and reinstall. All right, checking the back here, nothing wrong with that. Just clean off the plastic gear. I just had a reel in that had a broken plastic gear, so check those carefully. Check the teeth, and then we can go ahead and reinstall that. Reinstall, you need to mesh the gears and then align the holes. So if you have a question on this reel or any reel, maybe you're working on one and you're stuck, if you leave that in the comments section, I will try to help you out, try to answer your question. Sometimes the questions have to do with the actual repair. Sometimes there's questions, well, just want to know a little bit more about the reel or about how the reel operates, and go ahead and leave those as well. If I know the answer, I'll try and give you that answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to direct you. Alright, we have a bearing in here now on the back side. I'm going to oil that. I'm going to go with that ratchet now. Put that in next with the anti-reverse. Center that. It's got a rectangular hole that goes over the gear shaft. Then you need to find the stud and align the stud for the anti-reverse dog. Push everything down on the assembly. And again, you got to be a little bit careful here. And here's how we'll show you how that works. When you're pedaling the reel, you'll notice that the gears are turning, and this is actually bumping up against the stop. It's throwing it away. When you go to stop the reel and turn backwards, those fork teeth pull that in to stop the reel. That's your old style anti-reverse. We had a washer behind. We have the main gear. We've inspected the main gear. We're going to put a little bit of grease on there now. And then we can load that main gear onto the shaft. Oh, got ahead of myself with the main gear. I'm going to pull that up a little bit. You want to put that pinion gear back on first. So there's two sides on this pinion gear carrier. Look for the side that has the ramps on it. If you look on the top, you're going to see that they go on an angle, that they're not flush. That is the back side. And then on your pinion gear, look for the slot. That's the front side. So the alignment of your gear, slotted side, and ramps is the way that that loads. Put a little bit of that grease onto the find my brush. That kind of went odd. There it is, fell off the side. A little bit of grease onto the pinion gear. I'll pull up on that main gear first. Get it properly oriented. Gonna load that in. And once we've loaded that in, we can push down on the main gear. Take a look from your side here. You want to make sure that your stack is nice and solid. And we can oil our free spool release now. Want, you can give it a try. You can push down on the free spool release and make sure that it trips coming back up, which is what it just did there. I'm going to grab our two springs, which go into the carrier there. Okay, once you've reinstalled the main gear and the two springs, let's go put the collar on. Then we're going to put our case on. Make sure that that seats easily. We can tighten this down. Install the two screws. Again, this is a good time. I know I tested before, but this is a good time to take your free spool adjuster, put it in and make sure that it snaps out, which it does. We're going to put those 2 tension rings in, but I believe this flat one here is going to be the bearing shield one. So we'll put that on next. I'm going to put our 2 shields on. Then we're going to put our star adjuster on. So what we've done is we've taken a stack that was sitting on top of this and we put that stack below it. That should give us the increased tension to enable us to set that drag. Okay, over on this side then, we're going to make sure that our axle shaft on this spool gets cleaned up. And I'm going to trim this. I don't like loops when I go to reset spools. They just seem to get caught everywhere, so take that off. Clean up the back end of this one. Now we've already oiled the back end there. You can put a light coating of grease onto the spool shaft. Don't go crazy. Now we can load our spool shaft through. Now the case comes on. We've already oiled the bearing there. And this is why I don't like line when I'm servicing it. But they may have just put that line on, and I'm not going to remove it and have them waste it. But when you're doing your annual service, please take the line off at the same time. Replace that line. It's a good practice. And you won't lose the big fish because you took that extra step in making sure that your line was fresh. These 2 through screws go next. And we'll put one on the bottom here. Then we can tighten this down. I'm going to hold the stem here while I continue to move that star adjuster. And then this other piece that was under the nut cap, well, that actually belongs on top of the star adjuster and under the handle, like that. And we'll take the handle. There's one more here, so it appears that I left one in the tray here. So let's take this off again. So we have the bearing shield one, and then we have the one that'll be flat for the top of this, which makes sense. Let's go ahead and put that on. So a lot of this is intuitive if you've worked on enough reels, but if it isn't, if you haven't worked on a lot of them, again, the pictures is going to will help a lot. The schematic will help a lot. And, well, maybe just leaving that question in my comment section will get you unstuck along the way. Anyway, that goes in. The little shim washer goes there. Get rid of that piece of monofilament. Time to put the nut back on. Now this nut will go on a little bit better. It was sitting proud before because, well, it had nowhere to go. Everything was stacked up underneath it. Now it's going on the shaft the way it should to hold the handle down. We will go ahead and put that back on. That's a 10mm nut. And then you just have to play with this a little bit to make sure that your nut cap sits properly. I find that if that flat is pointing towards the hole, then you have a good chance that it's going to work properly. Go ahead and do this. That's on. Now let's give it a spin. Well, look at that. How do you like that? The spool is spinning. Let's free spool that. Click it. All right. Now it's time to adjust the drags down. Now we have the drag washers. There you go. So that the issue with this reel was really that we had an out of sequence position here when they went to do some work on the reel. What we did was we tried to do the diagnosis, try to figure out what was going on inside the reel. Even though it said it was cleaned, it had a little bit more cleaning to do there. So we showed you the mechanicals inside the reel, how to take this one apart, how to clean it, how to get it back together again, and how to get it out there fishing. So Quantum Magum, I'm not quite sure what it is because it looks like it was painted over on this side, but it may not have been. Maybe that's just me. But the Quantum Magum reel, circa the 1980s, maybe early 1990s, made in Japan. Nice reel overall. This one's got a lot of fishing left in it. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please like it and please subscribe. Make sure that you see all of these as I post them. To all of our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for everything it is that you've been doing and continue to do to keep us safe during the pandemic. Your efforts truly are appreciated. And to all, please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.